Okay, let's unpack this. When we talk about major German cities, we usually jump straight to the spectacle,
Right.
the cosmopolitan flash of Berlin, or, I don't know, the economic engine of Munich.
Sure.
But today, we are aiming for something far more understated, yet profoundly deep. We are traveling to Bonn.
And that's exactly where the depth of this story lies. Bonn isn't defined by its brief 40-year turn as a capital.
No.
It's defined by 2 full millennia, 2,000 years of continuous, uninterrupted history. It's perhaps one of the most historically layered cities in all of Europe.
So the mission for this deep dive is to trace that incredible path from a humble Roman military camp to a political and clerical powerhouse, the birthplace of Beethoven, a pivotal post-war capital, and now a modern hub for the United Nations.
And I think the core insight, the thing we need to keep coming back to, is Bonn's character.
Okay.
It's defined by subtlety, by balance, and historical depth. It's always avoided the grand, often dramatic spectacle you see in other major capitals.
It found its power somewhere else.
Exactly. Not in sheer size or military might, but in intellectual and administrative stability.
So it's a history of resilience then. A city that could withstand all this dramatic political whiplash.
Right. From powerful electors to Prussian administrators to the federal government.
But somehow retained its intellectual focus and that kind of intimate historical spirit. That continuity is the story we need to tell.
So let's start where all great European continuity begins.
The Roman Empire.
The Roman Empire.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 1st century BCE, the settlement known as Bonna.
And its location on the Rhine River, that immediately tells you why this place endured. The Rhine was more than just a waterway, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was the Roman Empire's northern border. It was a crucial defensive frontier and, maybe most importantly, a vital trade artery linking northern and southern Europe.
So security and commerce together.
Exactly. That combination mandated a major presence. So Bonn initially developed around a massive, stable Roman legionary camp.
And this wasn't some temporary outpost.
Not at all. It was a permanent military city, which, naturally drew in civilian structures, workshops, and a lot of commerce to support the thousands of soldiers stationed there.
Now, here is where that idea of continuous resilience really takes root for the first time. In the 5th century, Roman authority collapses.
Right.
And a lot of these frontier settlements were just abandoned and became ruins. But Bonn, it persisted.
And that distinction is just crucial. When we say it persisted, we mean the civic and economic life didn't just grind to a halt.
Okay.
The Frankish population that took over, they didn't just loot and leave. They reused materials. They built new homes right on top of or, within the old Roman foundation. They kept the farms going, and most critically, they kept the commerce flowing along the Rhine.
So the economic logic of the place just outlasted the political framework. It never totally fell apart.
Never.
I think that sets a pattern for the next 2,000 years, doesn't it? Its administrative function might change, but its underlying utility, its location, its established civic life, that remains.
Precisely. And that stability was incredibly attractive to the new powers. As we transition into the medieval era, we see the church leverage that foundation.
Right.
Beginning in the 13th century, Bonn became the official residence for the Prince Electors of Cologne.
We have to pause on this because Prince Elector sounds like a purely religious title, but these guys held incredible temporal power.
Oh, immense power. They were clerical rulers who controlled vast territories and, crucially, held one of the 7 votes needed to elect the Holy Roman Emperor.
Which made Bonn, their residence, a city of immense political prestige.
It was a capital city, but of a very unique type. It was wealthy, protected, and refined, but the core authority was ecclesiastical.
And you can see that in the architecture.
We can. This period is defined by the Bonn Minster, one of Germany's oldest churches. Its Romanesque towers weren't just spiritual symbols, they were physical markers of continuity and stability.
So if we were to walk through this medieval capital, what would it feel like? It wasn't Paris or London, big and sprawling.
No, not at all. It was intimate rather than imposing. A well-defended, compact city where the walls encouraged a kind of civic closeness.
So people knew each other.
They did. Guilds of merchants and craftsmen thrived because of the wealthy court, and that scale, it fostered a strong sense of community and civic responsibility. It really reinforces that subtle nature of Bonn's power.
That strong intellectual and intimate foundation that becomes so important when we move into the Baroque and Enlightenment period.
In the 17th and 18th centuries, yes.
The electors decided to use Bonn to flex their cultural rather than just their political muscle.
This is where refinement truly takes center stage. The electors invested heavily in culture. They built the electoral palace, that grand Baroque structure with formal gardens that later became the university.
It was a statement.
A huge statement of taste, mirroring Versailles, but on a smaller, more contained scale.
And the whole atmosphere of the city shifted. This was the age of Enlightenment, where intellectual life revolved around sophisticated salons, scholarly gatherings, and critically important music.
Yes, the city cultivated a reputation for learning and innovation, emphasizing reason and education.
And this vibrant cultural scene is the very reason why Bonn produced its most famous son.
Ludwig van Beethoven, born there in 1770.
His development wasn't an accident, was it? It was nurtured by one of the most progressive musical courts in Europe at that time.
Absolutely. The electors actively employed musicians and fostered new talent. Beethoven received his foundational training in this environment. It wasn't just his birthplace.
No.
It was the crucible that shaped his earliest artistic philosophy, steeped in Enlightenment ideals. The Beethoven House stands as a testament to that powerful early context.
But just as Bonn reaches this cultural peak, centuries of ecclesiastical rule come crashing down.
They do. In 1794, French revolutionary troops arrived.
And this is a sudden, radical shift. The French and the Prince Electorate, they introduced sweeping secularization.
And modern administrative systems, ideas of equality before the law, centralized governance. It was a complete overhaul of Bonn's structure.
It was, but here's that continuity again. The French administrative reforms didn't erase Bonn, they modernized it. It created fertile ground for the next major political shift. After Napoleon's defeat, the Congress of Vienna assigned Bonn to the Kingdom of Prussia in 1815.
And we often associate Prussia with, military discipline.
Right.
But in Bonn, they brought order, stability, and really functional urban planning, organized streets, green spaces. They were pragmatic administrators.
They absolutely were. But their most enduring legacy was institutional, wasn't it? It cemented Bonn's intellectual identity.
Completely. Recognizing the city's pre-existing cultural foundation and the facilities left behind by the electors, the Prussian administration founded the University of Bonn in 1818.
And that decision was transformative. It guaranteed Bonn would remain a major intellectual hub no matter who held the political reins.
It created a constant influx of scholars and students, ensuring the city's character stayed focused on learning and reflection. They had effectively blended French efficiency with Prussian discipline and, centuries of Baroque intellectual tradition.
Which brings us to the 20th century, a period where most of Germany was violently reshaped.
A real crucible.
Let's talk about the World Wars. Bonn, like everywhere else, suffered economic hardship in World War I, Allied bombing in World War II.
Yet, compared to centers like Cologne or Dresden or Berlin, Bonn avoided that widespread total devastation.
And that's key.
It is. Its core historical centers survived relatively intact, and that allowed the city to retain much of its architectural and urban character, which was a massive advantage after the war.
And this relative lack of damage, plus its central location in the new Western occupation zones, that led to the surprise choice in 1949.
Yes. Bonn was selected as the provisional capital of the new Federal Republic of Germany, West Germany.
That choice was heavily debated, though. A lot of people favored Frankfurt.
They did, but the selection of Bonn was highly symbolic. It was meant to represent democratic renewal and a distinct break from the authoritarian militaristic past associated with Berlin and Prussia.
And it was supposed to be temporary.
Exactly, modest and restrained.
I wonder, though, if that modesty was truly a philosophical choice, or just a practical one. The sources indicate the city emphasized functionality. Government buildings went up quickly, designed for practicality over spectacle.
I think it was both, but the effect was unique. Because Bonn was intended to be a provisional capital, there was no monumental architecture.
Right.
So you had politicians and civil servants living right alongside everyday residents, which reinforced a sense of normalcy.
It contrasted sharply with the isolated, powerful political districts of the past.
It did. It encouraged accountability and a very restrained style of governance. It really solidified Bonn's identity as the capital of restraint during the Cold War.
And if you want to dive into that specific era, the Haus der Geschichte, the House of History, is the central museum for that. It captures that unique slice of post-war German democracy perfectly.
But that raises the inevitable question. What happens to a city whose defining political purpose is suddenly revoked?
Yeah.
When reunification happened in 1990 and the capital moved back to Berlin, there was a real, tangible fear of decline.
That fear was palpable, but what actually happened was, Bonn executed this brilliant act of civic reinvention. Instead of shrinking, it pivoted. It went from a national capital to a global center.
The international pivot was essential to its survival.
How did they do it?
Bonn successfully attracted numerous United Nations institutions, shifting their focus toward global issues like climate change, sustainability, and development.
Which guaranteed that the city's intellectual life would stay vibrant.
It did. It attracted a whole new wave of international professionals and experts.
It's an incredible lesson in pragmatic adaptation. All that infrastructure built so quickly for government functions, the offices, the conference halls.
They were just repurposed.
Right. Not destroyed, just seamlessly converted into international offices, research centers, academic facilities. The city successfully leveraged its institutional history, the university, to support its new international purpose.
And through all these shifts, Roman camp, clerical residence, capital, UN hub, that unique Bonn vibe endures.
It does.
It's still marked by a relaxed pace, heavily influenced by students, academics, and international professionals who value intellectual pursuit over, rapid movement.
And the sources repeatedly bring up the role of nature in maintaining that balance. It seems crucial to the city's identity.
It is. The Rhine River isn't just a geographical feature, it's a central artery for the city. It provides these scenic promenades for exercise, for contemplation. You're never far from the surrounding hills and parks.
It's an environment that seems specifically designed to foster reflection and learning.
It is. The blend of the historic old town and the green spaces, it creates an atmosphere that is sophisticated, but it's never overwhelming. It rewards careful attention.
And for a truly memorable detail, you have to picture the famous cherry blossom season. The old town streets, those narrow medieval remnants.
They're transformed into this stunning, ephemeral canopy of pink and white. It's a moment of breathtaking natural spectacle in a city that's otherwise defined by its subtlety.
It really encapsulates the entire Bonn experience. And that leads directly to our final provocative thought for you to consider. If a city's core identity isn't defined by its political function, which can disappear overnight, but by its history, its culture, and its educational institutions, what are the true, enduring assets that give any place its lasting character? And how can other cities foster that same kind of deep, quiet resilience? That is something worth mulling over during your next walk, wherever you may be.